Hey, family. This is Che Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, this is episode 110. 110 weeks of consistency, 110 weeks of getting it done. As always, we outside. So, guys, if you are a first-time listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for joining us. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. If you are a return listener, watcher, or subscriber, thank you so much for joining us again. Hopefully, we're adding value to your lives on the way to the M's. Because as always, we are on the way to the M's. Now, guys, today we're going to have a tough conversation, difficult conversation, but these are the conversations that must be had. I was looking at my analytics for the podcast, and what it's telling me is that I have a lot of male watchers, which is amazing, which is great, right? And I believe that the male is the leader in the house. I know a lot of times that may be not the case if you're a stay-at-home dad, whatever the case may be, but uh, and it led me to start thinking to like what do women want. And I believe if you are a future husband to somebody, or you're a boyfriend, whatever the case may be, then you need to know what women want. So today we're going to talk about that. And it got me to thinking, uh when I was coming up, I didn't want to be married at all. I was, running around and doing a lot of things. And it got me to thinking about like these like independent women. So let me start there. It got me to thinking about being like women. I want to be independent and all these different things. But if we're being honest, I don't really believe that women like being independent. The people that I talk to, they want somebody to partner with them. And then that got me to thinking, when I was single, I always just wanted to be out there and partying, having fun, getting money, doing all these different things. But then when I met my wife, that changed my thinking. So then that got me to thinking, if that changed my thinking and I never wanted to be married just because I wanted to do my own thing, it got me to thinking about the independent women. And with the independent women, they, in my opinion, have not met the right person. So, with that being said, if you are a man that is watching this podcast, we are going to again talk about what women want. And I went to a marriage conference about a year ago, and they were talking about what women want and what men want as well. But the thing that really stuck out to me regarding what women want was security. Women want security, and to me, if you are an independent woman or you want to be independent, it means to me that you have not met the right person to make you feel secure emotionally, feel secure financially, feel secure from a leadership and protection standpoint. But we're going to talk about two of those things today. And the first thing we're going to talk about is finances, right? This is the financial podcast. So I talk to guys all the time about their financial situation, and they're like, "Oh, well, my wife, she spends, she does this, she does that," and the truth be told, your wife may spend a lot and spend all your money and blah 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 because you're allowing it to happen. Right. And I'm not talking about from a, oh, you better not, or I'm going to, hit you or whatever the case may be. But if you're leading your house the right way from a financial standpoint, from a protection standpoint, your wife will follow you. If you're new to this podcast, my wife and I have done some tremendous things financially, right? We still have a long way to go. We paid our house off in 7.5 years, but and then we have different nice things, and we have no debt, whatever the case may be, right? But all that happened because we had a tough conversation. So if you're a man and you're along those lines of my wife is doing this, that, and the third with money, and she's not good with money, it may be because you're not leading her in that right direction by leading by example. I remember, and I will always, this will always be in the back of my head. I had to have a tough conversation with my wife. And that tough conversation was this, that we need to combine our finances because we had similar goals that we wanted to get done, but we were doing them independent of each other. So I was trying to get there one way, she was trying to get there another way. But I believed by listening to different people, seeking wise counsel, that we needed to put our stuff together. So we ended up doing it, and then we ended up being able to pay off a lot of our debts and all of our debts actually, and being able to do some cool things with our, pool and buying cars cash and things of that nature, and being able to send our son to school for free uh, by having a 529, right? But the thing about it was, is my wife told me years later that the reason that when I had the conversation with her that she was comfortable doing it is because I was leading by example. So if you have conversations with your wife revolving around money and her spending habits, it may be because you may not be leading by example. And I'm not saying that you're not leading by example, but that conversation always stuck out to me. So, as men, as leaders of our home, in order for somebody to follow you, you have to be demonstrating some type of example to follow. So, what she told me was is that I led by example regarding finances. So she was comfortable enough with me leading our family to where we both wanted to go by being out of debt. So you need to think to yourself, what am I doing now with the money that I have? Am I making headway? Am I leading my family? And if you're not, that's okay. In order to get to the other side of where you want to be, you need to recognize it. You need to demonstrate uh, good behaviors revolving money, because a lot of times that can be the cog in the wheel to get us to where we want to go. And you may be pointing at her, which it may be her, but at the same time, you need to reflect and think about what you're doing or what you're not doing regarding your finances. And if you do need help, I talk about it pretty often. If you need help and you know that you need help, don't stay stuck. Seek the help that you need and take action on the things that you need to do better. And then show your wife what you're doing. Having that conversation was very scary for me, right? So having that conversation with my wife saying, "Hey, we need to combine our finances. We need to do this," was probably the most scary conversation that I ever had in my life, because it was of the fear of the unknown. I didn't know how she was going to take it. I didn't know how things were going to go. Things were very tough because we butted heads a lot of times when we were going through it. But the thing about it was is we stuck with it, and now we're on the other side. Do we still have issues revolving money? Sometimes, yeah. We're not perfect, but the thing about it is that we work through the situations, and now we're on the other side where we're in our good financial place, and we still have a long way to go. So, uh, the the next thing is so now we talked about the financial piece, and the second piece is communication. So communication is huge. I can say that when I was a child, if I didn't like the way a conversation with a friend or a girlfriend or whatever the case may be was going, I would shut down, freeze you out, don't talk to me, things of that nature. Now, what I'll tell you is if you are married, that does not work, right? And I have some work to do in that area still. Like my wife and I, we just had a conversation about something, and the conversation didn't go well, and then we ended up like I ended up shutting down and not saying whatever was on my mind, and that led to problems. So I talk about this on the podcast before about taking the path of least resistance. So if your wife is overspending or you have an issue with her, the path of least resistance will tell you, hey, well, maybe I just won't say anything and the problem will fix itself. I'm here to tell you that that's not the case. So what we need to do, we need to face our problems head on, because if we don't, then it's just going to cause more issues. So going back to the issue that we had, I'm not going to go into detail about what it was, but me not talking is to me a path of least resistance. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I already know what she's going to say, so I'm not even going to, have the conversation about it, about what's bothering me. So I'm just not going to say anything. Path of least resistance will say, okay, well, the problem will fix itself. I'm fooling myself thinking that the problem will fix itself, because eventually it's going to happen again. And us not talking is going to cause more problems. So what I need to do is say what's on my mind and fix the problem, and then hopefully it doesn't happen again. And if it does, then we need to have another conversation. So I'm saying all that to say that communication in marriages, or if you're dating somebody, is huge, because it lets the other person know what's on your mind and how you feel about the certain situation. And that's another part of the security piece, because the more you communicate, the more trust you're going to build with that person, which is one of the reasons why when I talk to people about financial things with their spouses, that you need to combine your finances, because it's going to force you guys to communicate. And the more you communicate, the more you learn each other. The more you learn each other, the more you know the likes and dislikes of your partner. And you can get over things because you're familiar with that person. You know what they like, you know what they dislike, and you can get over the things because you have a relationship with that person. But the least amount of times that you talk, then it can be open for interpretation of what you mean if you did something, instead of facing the issue head on. Talk about it. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to myself as well. So the what women want is um uh security and communication, among many other things. But based on the thing that we had going on this week, I wanted to make sure I talked about that, because on this podcast, like, we're super honest about what's going on. And in our wealth building journey, these are the things that we're going to need to get there. Because if you want to do something and then you have this person that is your spouse, and they're holding you back in your mind, then you need to really think to yourself, like, how am I contributing to this person holding me back? And that takes a lot of self-reflection, man. Like, when when case in point, when I shut down, I'm thinking that I'm right, she's wrong. But then I'm thinking to myself, like, how did I contribute to the thing even happening? So you really need to think about that. And then once I thought about that, I'm like, okay, cool. I got it now. And that's why reading books is so important. Like right now, reading How to Win Friends and Influence People. And in that, they talk about seeing things from the other person's point of view. And if you really, it that forces you not to be selfish. So if you think about things from the other person's point of view, then you'll understand why they do what they do, why they say the things that they say, and how you can internalize it before you respond, and have the right response instead of the response that's going to pour gasoline on the fire. So I wanted to make sure that I talked about that, because again, on your wealth building journey, like, you two being on the same page is going to make things that much better. You're in partnership with this person to get somewhere. And then at the same time, your kids are watching you too. So if we can try our best to do the right things financially and then be in partnership and have open dialogue and communication, no matter how good or bad the conversation is going to go, we need to have the conversations. Because if we don't, and I think about this often, what would have happened if I never had the conversation with my wife 10 years ago about us combining our finances and doing all these amazing things. And I saw what was happening when we weren't. And then that leads me to think that, and that should lead you to think like, if we continue down this road that we're going by not doing the right things financially, by not combining our finances, by not having open dialogue, where is that going to lead us? So if you're really honest with yourself, then you know that that's not going to lead you or your family in the right place. So I wanted to make sure that I talked about this because it's super important to our families for one, uh, to our wealth building journey, and the people who are coming behind us, which are our kids. So uh, if you are a man watching this, and you know that there's areas of opportunity for you to do better with being the leader that God's called you to be, or for you to be a better communicator, which should be happening as a leader. You communicate with your spouse. So again, not throwing any stones. I have a lot of things to work on. I am not perfect at all. I'm good at finances, yes, but communication is an area of opportunity for me to do better and talk about my thoughts and not just already have the conversation in my head about what she may say. Just have the conversation again. It's only going to make things better long term because the less you talk, the more division can come in and separate you from again where God has called you to be. So that's the episode, man. I wanted to again just come by and talk about that because on this podcast, I believe that if if we're going through certain things or we come out on the other side of certain things that were a fear of ours or a fear of mine, and now we're on the other side of it, then I believe that it can help somebody as well. So if you're not where you need to be, if you're not being that leader in your house, there is time. As long as you have breath in your lungs, there is time for you to change. And then once you change and you show the change, then you can ask, "Hey, uh I think we need to do this financially. Hey, uh do you want to be somewhere, do you want to be, debt free, or do you want to have more money to invest, or do you want to be able to go on these nice vacations or whatever the case may be?" Okay, cool. So if that's the case, what I started doing, I'm role playing with myself right now for you. What what I started doing is I started, cutting back on my spending, and look, this is how much money I have now. And then she might like be like, "Oh, okay, cool. All right. Well, let's do that together." And then you can be each other's accountability partner. And ladies, if you're watching this, this can maybe give you a good example of what you want your man to be like, and making sure that you guys are going in the same direction and you guys are communicating together what you guys want and what you don't want, what you like and what you don't like. So that's the episode. Hopefully this has helped somebody. I thought that this was super important again. So that's it. That's all I got for y'all, man. I am a flawed man. I'm good at certain things. I'm not good at certain things, but it's all a journey, right? So let's be on this journey together and let's get this stuff done, man. Our families need us and we need to be the leaders that God has called us to be. Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week. Peace.